States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can you please make sure that your phones are turned off or on silent? All right, not on the agenda, but we're going to take a quick minute to introduce the new Mr. Joyce. Just kidding. Mr. Van Orman, do you want to introduce Aiden?
Yeah, absolutely. Pleased, for the first time that I'm aware of, Red Creek has the privilege of having a student ex officio member on our school board. So our first student school board member here is Aiden Nash. Aiden is here tonight. And he'll start kind of serving his 1-year term for us. Aiden, you would like to say hello to the board?
Hi, everybody.
Way to put him on the spot.
Yes, well, we talked about a couple things. So we're kind of getting Aiden off the ground. This is a new initiative across the state to have all schools have a student board member. And some schools have had student board members for quite a while. We have not, so Aiden and I have spent quite a bit of time together in the last week or two trying to figure out what this might look like and what kind of his role and responsibilities are. Aiden has gone to some training. Aiden and myself went to some training last week at BOCES with all the student leaders from across our BOCES region. We have a bunch more student trainings signed up. There's some additional trainings through NISBA and opportunities for leadership. It's not just about teaching and educating students about how board meetings are run. It's really about leadership and networking opportunities. So, Aiden and the 24 other student leaders from across our region, they're fine, outstanding leaders from our school systems. And I think having a student voice on our board will be beneficial to us. So I'm looking forward to bringing Aiden and the student voice forward to the board. So tonight we start that process.
Welcome, Aiden.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure if Mr. Van Orman told you, but we don't all wear red every single board meeting. So the fact that you blend in with the administration is fine, but don't not come because you don't have a red shirt.
Exactly. You look great.
You do. You look better than the rest of us. So. All right, great. Okay, we're gonna move on to see the minutes of the regular meeting from July 24th. Could I have a motion, please? Mrs. Kaiser and a second by Mrs. Dingman. Any questions, corrections to these? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving on. I would take a
I'll take a motion to approve all of D, the financial reports.
perfect thank you, Mrs. Dingman, and a second by Mrs. Folds. Any questions on this group? When you're ready.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Folds?
Yes.
Mrs. Dingman?
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Decker?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the whole entire consent agenda. That's E1 through 5.
Thank you, Mrs. Dingman.
You're welcome.
I take a second by Mrs. Decker. Any questions on this group? Okay, when you're ready.
Mrs. Decker? Yes. Mrs. Dingman?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Folds?
Yes.
And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes. Before we go on, I'd just like to say congratulations to Mrs. Smith. So totally appropriate that you're also wearing red.
I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I bet. The email that came out last night that said you better all have red on tomorrow. All right, moving on to new business. Could I have a motion for F?
I'll make a motion 1 through 5.
Perfect, thank you, Mrs. Dingman. Second by Mrs. Kaiser. Any questions on this group?
I have one. I don't know if I didn't see. Was there an update today? I see the F5 is starred, which makes me think it's new.
It's was it alright if so it's new, we don't have enough numbers for a JV team, and we had discussed this. Actually, I was gonna make a comment to this board that, I think that we're going to probably have to have some discussions in the future about what we're doing about combined sports programs and how that's gonna be handled, as, you know, the numbers aren't always great, and we wanna make sure that we can offer students as many opportunities as we can, so that might take, some creativity on the superintendent's part, and, you know, potentially working with other school districts. Any comments to that,
I
or?
would agree.
Thank you.
Sure, Mr. Welcher would love to reach out to other districts when the time comes.
I got that imprint. It looks like it.
Yeah, just so matter of fact today.
Yeah.
It's always tricky, right? Each year, some of those things, the ebbs and flows of graduating classes and student population, trying to drill down into why students are or are not signing up for sports. But when we have small populations of kids and then a couple kids decide, or they're injured, or they move away, or they decide not to play, the impact that it has on a larger group of kids, I think is challenging. I think it also is challenging to, you know, when we unfortunately make the decision not to have JV teams because of numbers, it now brings ninth graders up and having to play on varsity level teams, and maybe they're not physically ready or mature enough at that point. So, you know, the ability to maybe partner or to find some sustainable models that would allow our kids at age appropriate opportunities would be, you know, on a more consistent basis would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was my question, so, okay, thanks.
Anything else in this group? When you're ready.
Mrs. Foltz?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Dingman?
Yes?
Mrs. Stecker? And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes, thank you. All right, administrative reports, any questions on these?
I just wanted to say that I was really encouraged looking at Mrs. Devaney's report for some of these numbers, the proficiency numbers. So I just want to say congratulations to you and kind of the entire team on that. I was curious about the math 6 change, just because that was such a dramatic change as opposed to last year. If there's any insight into that at all.
So we're early in that analysis process, so the teams actually just looked at their gap analysis work in math just this week. So hopefully by my October data presentation, we'll have a little more information on that. Usually the data isn't released this early, so we're really encouraged that our staff have been able to see a little bit more of it this summer, hoping that they can get to action related to that a little sooner than normal.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Van Orman?
Great. Before I get started on my numbers 1, 2, and 3, we are, based on the approval that the board has just granted, academically, staff-wise, I believe currently we are fully staffed to open school with all of our teachers are certified in the areas in which they're teaching in, which is no small feat. And all of our teaching positions have been filled for the year. So we're in a really good spot right now, thankfully. You know, the end of the summer is always kind of a mad dash to kind of wrap those things up as there's kind of moves and shakes around. So kudos to the team for their hard work and dedication to making sure that we can bring some high quality educators to fill those gaps.
Great job.
Some of the names you've seen on there are familiar faces, some of them are new, so kind of a smattering of both. I wanted to bring to your attention, we did this last year as we had gone through the Community Center Advisory Board, just with the reassignments of the committees from our last board meeting, just kind of an update. The Community Center Advisory Board went through their annual election process and selecting their presidents, and so they're fully fully staffed, so to speak, and those are the names of the people that are serving our community center, so. Draft presentation schedule, brought something similar to you folks last year at this time. Each board meeting, the goal is to have one presentation at each board meeting, and I'm really looking for some kind of high-level updates at those board meetings. In addition to these presentations, there is no schedule for recognitions, because sometimes the recognitions are kind of, they just come upon us, right? Things occur that deserve, students or staff that deserve attention and recognition. So I didn't include a recognition ceremony schedule, but our presentation schedule is what you're seeing there. Similar to what we have done in previous years, 3 budget presentations that fall right in line with our budget process. I heard good feedback, I thought, last year from the board on those end of the year kind of follow-ups from each of the principals as kind of an end of the year wrap up on maybe initiatives and some data that would flow in throughout the things. As Mrs. Deviney alluded to, October is normally the time of the year Mrs. Deviney and our teams have had an opportunity to dive into that first wave of that academic data. So I wanted to kind of keep that where that was. I know over the course of time, there's been some questions. Ms. Ventura and her team have done a lot of work around changing some of our programs at the special education. And then my thinking was kind of middle of the year, I would give a whole overview, State of the Union kind of an update. So welcome, open to feedback on those. Should there be any questions. To draft, nobody has to vote on it, you don't have to approve it. If there's certain things that the board would like to see that are not represented here on a broad scale, please let me know and we can work. I tried not to put more than one presentation at a night, just for flow and time considerations, but I'll welcome feedback offline or online if you folks have any, so. And then lastly for me, I just thought it was important to share with you folks kind of a listing, again, not something that you need to approve, a list of many of our service providers or vendors that we contract with for outside support. Many of these are for mental health, student support programs, and I tried to list. You'll see on-site on the back end in a number. 1.0 would mean 5 days a week they're on site. 0.4 would mean 2 days a week on site essentially. 0.6 would be 3 days a week on site. But you can see kind of the wide range of supports. I tried to identify if they were grant funded from us or if they were a service that we purchased through our BOCES consortiums. So you see quite a bit of support on there, right? These are a lot of supports, a lot of extra hands that go into either planning or day-to-day support and assistance, either on our MTSS teams, the community schools coordinators, having 3 of those. You'll see that like at our back to school bash and some of those events that we have coming up next week. So just wanted to share those names and titles and work with you there. So questions on any of that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on, there's a copy of the new committee assignments that are in your folder. Thank you, Amanda, for that. Along with that, there was a comment made in the past that more information in your binder is better to refer to. So I did ask Amanda if she would make everyone a copy, another copy if you don't have it, of the bravery sheet and also of the kind of role of a board member and the viewpoint. So just something to refer back to. It's probably
Beginning.
yeah, it's at the beginning of your folders. It's in a laminated sheet. Probably new to Mr. Joyce, but he's not here tonight. So just for something to refer back to, if you'd like to. I sent out an email, about the, district and board goals for this coming year. I'm just wondering if we had any feedback on that, and I figured we could take the next half an hour and have a discussion about that and what those look like, so that we could get that done. I did hear back from a couple of people about the email, but I'm just wondering if there was any other feedback. I need to pull it up on my phone, I'm sorry, my computer's dead.
Can we go back to committees super quick? I just have a
Sure.
question. I noticed that on the audit committee, it said one meeting to discuss audit results in October. I don't remember there being like a specified, meeting schedule for audit, so is that something new that was added to the audit committee?
That's the
Meeting.
one where, the gentleman comes in and discusses the audit with
Okay,
us.
so maybe it's been there and I just missed it, cause then I noticed that like the quarterly meetings were, added to policy, so I didn't know if those were the only two committees that were determined that there's gonna be like scheduled meetings for those two in those areas.
Yeah, I don't have the old one offhand, so, maybe the audit committee wasn't listed specifically
Okay.
before, but that would be our typical
So it's
audit
just
committee meeting.
on the October 15th meeting.
So it's normally like about 30 minutes, 30 or 40 minutes before that meeting. You know, at that meeting, the board would accept the audit results. The audit will be starting here next week, which is great because it's normally in September, so we have to upload those into the state portal. But we would normally meet with Ray Wager's office prior, you know, at 6 o'clock prior to the 6:30 meeting.
Okay. Got it.
So I think that was the intent behind that language.
The quarterly meeting information was just
Just new.
updated, yeah, as obviously the policy committee wasn't the entire board
Yep.
up until just recently. Did you have any other questions
No.
before we bounce back?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, so, if there's nothing to start with, let's just jump into, the Board of Education goals that I sent out. So the, committee charters, the number 2 is completed. Both 1 and 3 were not. So, I would be happy to keep those in place.
Do we have to have 3?
We do not.
So what if we just took the 2 that we didn't complete last year and used those? With a goal of, let's actually
Completing
do
them?
it this year.
Other thoughts?
I would agree with Stephanie. Would it be possible, I know we did the charters, but it kind of got like jumbled up, I feel, in my brain. Could you sum it out again at
Sure.
some point when you think of it? Thank you.
And I wonder if we should do like a subcategory or like just add on to like the established onboarding process for new board members. But we might also wanna include if we're gonna always have a student board member, just the wording
So
in there, like
that's
new
in-
board members and student board member.
Because that process is gonna look different than a regular board member.
Well, and I think right now it's a little bumpy and messy because it's new, but like, once Aiden gets through this, we'll all have a better idea of like, and Aiden will probably be able to offer pretty good feedback, like, Aiden, what do you wish you knew coming into this, you know, after a couple of months? So when somebody comes in next year, we can kind of prep them a little bit better and just kind of have an idea of what they actually need.
Okay.
One of the things Aiden and I talked about this afternoon was even the possibility of like a backup student board member, right? I mean, oftentimes the students that are elected to or selected to these positions lead very busy lives. They're seniors, there's a lot going on their senior year, they could be working, they could be in sports. So, you know, is there a need or an opportunity to bring a second student board member on that maybe kind of serves as an understudy? In that way, maybe they share those duties and responsibilities. You know, I think Aiden is gonna face a lot of questions he's gonna be the go-to popular person at the school from all the students, like boom, 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 hammering them with a lot of questions. Having that divided out maybe among 2 students might also have some validity as well. So, blending that in somewhere might be important.
Okay. Other thoughts about,
I would agree with just keeping the 2. I mean, considering that we only did 1, it might be ambitious for us to just keep the 2 this year. And I think there's a lot of work involved there. Yeah, that's my feedback. I think I would go with the 2.
And let's set some timelines, some realistic timelines of what this looks like.
well, I have a plan for that. The only thing I would say also is I think if we were willing to take on a third, and actually this was in a conversation with Mr. Van Orman about potentially setting a calendar for professional development for board members. The only reason I say that, maybe that's a next year goal, is because our next topic is going to include the cost of some of these items that are being asked about for professional development. And if that is kind of considered ahead of time, then we won't have to do it at the year of and trying to decide where our money should be spent. So doesn't have to be this year, but I think it might be a good idea moving forward. So, all right. Okay, so as far as the timelines, it's really challenging, I believe, at least in my opinion, that when I send an email out or try to get some feedback and trying to not violate any open meetings law, for everybody to have a chance to go through it and then also get back to the group in a timely manner. So my suggestion would be that we chunk this off in pairs or smaller groups and try to do it that way, and then give the deadline of whatever it is, the next board meeting or something like that. Not everybody has to be involved, and we could do it, for example, if Mrs. Folds and I take a first stab at the board handbook for the next meeting, and then before the following meeting, Mrs. Decker and Mrs. Dingman do the same thing. I just think that trying to meet with everything as a group, we've even tried, the Google Docs, and that's been unsuccessful as well. So, any thoughts to that?
I think that makes sense, like conquer and divide and conquer. You know what
I think it works both ways, so that's fine. Conquer and divide and conquer.
Refresh my memory on why Google Docs didn't work for this, because I think, because you started it, right?
So it
Because
was
not-
an issue with it not being a Red Creek school account. I think there was an issue with it.
And not everyone could
Get
participate.
in it,
Yeah.
okay.
So.
But they just would have to be added. I think that's
Yeah.
just, folks not understanding, Google, so, maybe that's something that the tech director can sit down with folks. to sit
Yeah,
down
I mean, if it worked, it
because
would have been great.
Google is a fantastic tool for this, and I know that Mrs. Folds and I did add to this, but I think that's where it stopped.
If we could figure that out, that might be helpful, because then we can all see the additions and the edits as a working document, so that might be something to look into a little more.
Yeah, I think I think that would be a good possibility, maybe after we try it this way, if we could agree, and I only say that because I think what'll happen is we'll continue to lose time while we wait for people to get technologically updated. So it's something that we could work on, but sometimes I think it's, if we assign it to someone for the first task, it might be a little bit easier to make some progress. Maybe at that point, after a couple people go through it, we can try to make sure everybody does what they need to do to be able to get into that document. But I know myself, I was one of few that could get in there, so.
Well, so one other option could be if you're having that first round, like say it's you and I, for example, working on it, we could work on it and then put what we have in a Google Doc for people to share their feedback, if that
Yep.
would be something that maybe would, and that would provide people with a little bit more time, because it really, I know that there's some anti-Google Doc people.
Why are you looking at me?
But it really is,
She's
like,
looking at Aiden.
it really does make things a lot more efficient, and people can chime in with their feedback without actually changing the document, like adding notes, so I really do think it would be beneficial if we could get.
I'm not anti-Google Doc.
So Microsoft also has a very similar platform, so
Okay.
if one of them is a barrier, it's basically the exact same thing
Okay.
on
We can do that.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Which may be a little more user-friendly from the login standpoint, I don't know.
So is the plan to go through it as pairs or small groups and then get together with all of the feedback?
No,
for
I
one
think,
hopefully brief meeting?
no, so I'm gonna volunteer Mrs. Folds, so if Mrs. Folds and I go through the first round of this, we would push it out to the rest of the group before the next board meeting, hopeful that everyone would be able to access Google Docs and put your feedback in that way.
I know last year at the NISBA conference, I went to a meeting on, or one of the things was on this. I think I sent out the information, did you guys want me to send it out again? Like they had sample books and like sample handbooks and onboarding processes and
Sure.
maybe just.
I
a
remember
resource
you
we could
sending it,
use.
but if you have easy,
I'll look
quick
for it.
access to it, thank you.
Other thoughts? Wanna do that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Mrs. Folds and I will take the first round, set it up through Google Docs again,
Or we can do what Mr.
or
Taylor wants to do.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
whatever works, and
Gotta
then
pick one and stick with it.
Karen, someone text Abby.
Well, since we
And
all
then
have a Microsoft account in school, I think it makes sense just to use
Yep.
that.
that's
That would
fine.
make Mr. Robbins very smiley if we did Microsoft.
Eric doesn't know yet, but I can't get into my computer, so.
I would charge all of the board members. Let's just try to make sure that, Stephanie or Mrs. Folds and I will have it out prior to the next board meeting. If you could take a look at it, we'll try to give a week, let's say.
Yeah.
A week to give your feedback. Let's use that as the living document to work off of. And, that'll be an opportunity for us to make some more headway on this. And then, we can approach the next step at the next meeting. So if that's another set of 2 or 3, that need to go through it individually, or maybe once everybody's online to this, it might work. So, if you have problems, don't contact Mrs. Kaiser. She will not help you. Okay, so we'll start with that one. The other one was the onboarding process. Again, I would say the same thing, as far as approach.
Do we already have something started, like, because I know we have like the bones of this handbook already, but do we have something already started for onboarding?
So we have, what I believe Dr. Macaluso gave us as an example.
Like, if Elizabeth was saying that she has examples from the conference, like, there's no point in reinventing the wheel, like, why don't we take
Right, well, I
one
also.
that's done and work off of that and like edit it for us?
Yeah, I also sent out the copy that the board president, or the former board president from Clyde Savannah gave me to the group, so that would also be a starting point. Is anyone interested in taking a stab at starting that, kind of in the same fashion? Put your hands down. All right, Aiden, I guess that's you. He's like, God, get me out of here. All right, so Mrs. Folds, we could probably do them together.
Good job, guys. Go-getters.
Okay, we'll have something for you a week before the next meeting. All right, district goals.
I noticed that the district goals that were listed mirrored the strategic plan, which we're supposed to be following until 2027.
Yes, ma'am.
And
That was purposeful.
it sure is. So I'm not sure why we would update that since the strategic plan is
I would agree with you.
So you say keep them the same?
check. Aiden,
I'd be fine with keeping them the same.
you just say yes.
I think overarchingly, they hit some of the fine points that we're looking to hit, right? You know, we should always be looking at our academic performance. We should always be looking at culture and communication, whether it's a goal or whether it's, you know, those are things that we should be focusing on anyway. So I think it makes sense, that they're in our strategic plan, that we're following our strategic plan, and they're aligning our goals and our strategic plan and the work and the vision that we subscribe to. So we've been intentional with that work. The hope would be that we would continue down that path.
The one thing I didn't see is talking about safety. One might say that's under culture and communication, but there's not anything that specifically talks about safety,
What
which is a
if
broad
we,
topic.
Good point.
just updated number 1, or you want it to be a separate one?
No, it could
Like
be
I'm just saying,
included.
like what if we update number 1 to say, to create a safe, or create a positive culture and safe environment? Like literally just add safe in front of the word environment.
What do you guys think?
Get behind safety.
Okay. So. Okay. What other thoughts? Just realized I missed the number 3 on number 3.
You know, at some point, and as Ms. Stingman indicated, right, the strategic plan goes for another bit, but we're going to have to begin at some point talking about what the next iteration of that looks like, whether there's another strategic plan initiative or some evolution of that. You know, generally, when you go through a full strategic plan review, you hire an outside consulting group, and they would come in and solicit the surveys and the feedback and review the data and help you kind of pair into, you know, these focus areas that you see in front of you there. And then you normally would kind of hold on to those tenets for 5 years, give or take. So we're year 3 or 4 through that process with this group of vision. So, you know, having a discussion before it expires, and then having a plan so that there is not a gap, that there's not a lapse in what we're moving forward with. Because it'll take some time to get, if we want to go in that direction and hire a consulting firm, it's going to take some time to solicit them. We're going to have to bring in some of those people, and they'll do a presentation, and we can select, and so on and so forth. So just food for thought in the back of your minds as we work through this strategic plan, kind of the timeline, what the next iteration is going to look like.
Thank you. Other thoughts for the district goals?
And then one more regarding, I didn't see anything regarding being fiscally responsible to the district, the community. We are certainly in a time that federal funds are unknown, declining state aid, and we want to make sure that we're offering the most we can, but still being fiscally responsible to the community.
Would you say that you think that that's a district goal or a board goal?
No, that's the
both?
district's.
So that is, sorry.
No, go ahead.
That is outlined in our strategic plan work. There is additional information alluding to fiscal responsibility.
I was just saying,
I
I
can
think
bring
I
that.
see the connection for both.
So when we had one of our PD sessions with one of the multiple folks that we've had come in at various times, they discussed how the board goals are truly our goals that we need to be doing, such as the handbook, the onboarding, having the committee charters. Those are things that we're responsible for creating. We're not creating the budget.
Gotcha. I understand what you're saying.
And that in no way was any dig to you about the multiple folks that we've had inside here.
No,
Discuss that.
well, and I just think that, sometimes I look at fiscal responsibility as layered. Let me just read through this really quick.
I can get something together.
Oh, that's a great plan, okay. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to work it in as quickly as Mrs. Kaiser did with SAFE, but.
I will not.
I had one word.
Yeah. You're a little more concise than I am.
All right, other thoughts? All right, so, if we could get these brought forward for the next meeting, if you wouldn't mind trying to see if you could get some language that would
Absolutely.
include, you can cross safety off, cause Mrs. Kaiser already did that for you, but, no, I'm just kidding. As far as the financial piece, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Number 3, I included in this email was the NISBA conference is coming up in October, and some of us did attend last year, and after being made aware of the financial impact of a conference like that, I thought that it was a good idea for us to have a conversation about that. So if you're unaware, I think the number that was presented to me was roughly $10,000 to attend a conference like that. If you have not taken a look recently, our budget line is roughly 21. I know that there's also been board members that are interested in having some sort of a retreat on site. And then I have been contacted by individual board members that would also like to take some additional training. That all comes at a cost. I don't know, but is there also a cost associated with our training of our new student representative?
From BOCES?
From BOCES, it's added to our BOCES. It's included in our BOCES bill.
Who pays your BOCES bill? District.
The district.
So, I kinda asked that question because I felt like I already knew the answer, but, so anyway,
It's a different figure than
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you just tossed around, certainly, but yes.
for $10,000, Mr. Nash, you better be getting quite some training. So anyway, so if we could just have a quick discussion, I know that some people have expressed interest in attending. Like I said, some of us attended last year and brought information back. I think we just need to have an open discussion about basically where we're putting our money. And is this a good choice for us? Is retreat a better choice for us? Is neither? You know, I think it's important for us to be fiscally responsible too. So I'll entertain any conversation on either side of this or any ideas on what we could do.
I think professional development is very important, to make you a well-rounded board member. There are a lot of opportunities within NISBA on the website that are free lunch and learns every month. They're there from 3 years ago. There's not much that they're bringing forward that isn't brand new, that's not being discussed. But with that said, a lot of people look at the New York City trip as a mini vacation, certainly after the fact. But did anybody look at the digital experience they're offering this year? They're offering 35 programs, 35 sessions that are being conducted down there. They're going to be available all year long for folks to watch from the comfort of their home, or we could do that here together. And the savings is, instead of $250, or instead of having the $590 registration fee, it's only $250 without the added travel expenses.
So all of the PDs that are offered in October are
They're offering 35 sessions will be
Okay.
available online.
and for $250.
Mm-hmm.
Per person.
Not if we
Or
watch it together.
one person.
Well, yeah, if we were
So-
all.
I mean,
So,
somebody's gonna
so
wanna
in
get
theory,
that credit, so
the
they can
district
get.
could pay $250 out of our budget,
Yep.
and we could choose the ones that we wanted to watch together.
Mm-hmm. Throughout the whole year, or you can watch them separately, too.
I would agree, I think I just don't know with the position that we're in and the uncertainty, I don't know how we can justify spending that amount of money. And I also look at our, we put together that great doc last year, and I know we did spend some time reviewing it, but I still think there's a lot of blood to get out of that stone that we haven't really kind of fully circled back to it, seen if there's things that still are.
Do you
in
mean
there
the
that-
sessions that you attended last year?
Yeah, we
Okay.
have that, like, it's,
Mhm.
I meant to bring it with me, but I didn't. Where everyone wrote a synopsis and some things, like some possible, like, action items moving forward from those. So I think between that and the online resources, I just personally don't think we should be spending that amount of money for that.
They do have the sessions, out of the 35 sessions, they do have those posted online for anybody to look at right now to see.
Can I see that?
What, yes, I'll pass it right down to you.
I mean, how consistent are they or similar to the ones from last year too?
So I actually had a conversation with Kim about this. I had deleted the app, but for a while, if you did attend the conference, if you kept the app, all of the slides for the presentations were still on there. Because we were actually looking for something, and I don't know, did you end up keeping it or no?
I still have the app, but I never went back in.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's still there.
So it was there for a while if it's not still there. So that was that's a helpful tool. I don't know if that was just a glitch that year and they always do that, but I would be interested to see what kind of overlap there was from year to year. I do know that we did have some overlap just within the sessions that were given each day. You know, if you were interested in seeing, you know, something about potentially reviewing superintendent's evaluation, there was, you know, maybe one every other session. There was a different take, but you know, something on that. So I haven't had a chance to look at this, so I can't say how much similarity there is.
How many people showed interest in going this year?
I personally have only heard from 2. But we didn't give a deadline either, so I don't wanna say that no one else is interested, at this point, just no one else has said anything to me.
So the cost to attend this year, counting travel, looked like they're around $1,700 per person. So I don't know if that's what the breakdown was for last year.
Last year, we didn't have a registration fee,
Mhm.
so that would be an additional fee this year, but that sounds roughly about right. Some of these names are great, Sticks and Stones. I mean, who comes up with this stuff? Sorry.
AI.
I know personally last year I felt like it was really valuable. It was a lot of information that probably wouldn't have been exposed to quite as thoroughly if we hadn't gone. I know I'm not a finance person, so I went in, being on the finance committee, I went into like all of the different finance things, and it kind of gave me a good overview so that when we met as a committee, I didn't have 5 million questions for Danielle. I think if people do go, that the board should set aside some time to sit down and really talk through, because there's a lot of really good information. This is like their bread and butter, this is what they do, so I think that it's valuable personally, but if the rest of the board does not feel like it is, I do think we should invest in at least this virtual one and maybe just sit down and watch the sessions, like pick one each board meeting that we can sit down and watch as a group, or watch beforehand and do it like a book club and come in and talk about it. I don't know, I think they have some really good information. I looked through at least the in-person schedule, and I haven't looked through the online one, but there's some stuff that I think will be really good in the upcoming year for us to kind of have a handle on, so.
Well, I think there's the team building piece of it to go as a group. You know, there are several boards that go, everyone goes, and they look at that as a team building session as well. And so I understand that piece of it. I think that, again, you know, we're specifically talking about this conference, but, you know, there were other items that were discussed that were, you know, a substantial dollar amount, you know, an on-site retreat for us for just a 4-hour session is gonna be around $3,000. And so, you know, that's a chunk, you know, if you're, you know, if it was longer, it's obviously gonna be more. So, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, but if we could, you know, at least decide kind of where we are on these two bigger items as far as the NISBA conference in New York City, and then what we would like to do with a retreat, you know, if that's most of our budget line, if we decided to do both of those, and if everyone participated, obviously.
I think the virtual option, we talk about team building and needing a retreat as a group a lot. We struggle to find days that are common for everybody, but if we could, you know, I think the virtual option of that, like we decide as a group, what do we need the most? Like, what do we need the most? Not to waste anybody's time, but like figure out what's important to our group as a whole, and then do that. I mean, I'm personally not going to go to New York City. I'm pretty sure Nancy's not going to go to New York City. So the team building aspect is null and void at that point because the whole board wouldn't be attending. But if we were all attending this virtually, you know, we're here watching it together, or I really like the idea of the book club, watch it ahead of time and discuss. But I do think sometimes stuff gets lost in the sauce like that. Like, whereas if we're watching it here together, we can pause it, discuss, somebody has a question or whatever. So that, I think that's a better option for us.
Are we, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, so it's an interesting point, I think that I just picked up, like we struggle in finding dates to do some other things, so like how feasible is it that we will find dates to watch together, or however we decide to proceed together? So that's something just to take into consideration.
Right, but like Elizabeth's idea of if we watched ahead of time and then discussed, like then we're all, you know, able to find time to watch it ahead of time. Or, you know, we keep trying to narrow down the time, or we pick a meeting where we're available to come in an hour ahead of time, or whatever. I mean, I don't know how long the sessions are, but.
Are we sure that we can access the virtual experience afterwards? Cause it looks like they're just scheduled out on
Yes.
time frame. You can for sure?
Mhm. According to the website.
I think it's also important to bring up that it's not always in New York City,
Right.
right? So
Oh, yeah, that's a
historically, they tend to be in the same location 2 consecutive years, and then they'll rotate. So prior to New York City, it was in Buffalo. They haven't released upcoming sites, but
Next year could be in Syracuse.
Syracuse. I mean, generally speaking, you would think it's Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and New York would most likely be in some world the rotation. Maybe some other little kind of offshoots, but generally speaking, they kind of spread it around across the state as well. So.
I was one of the people that said that I wanted to attend again because last year I found every session that I attended to be valuable. In fact, I was like looking forward to bringing all of that information back to discuss as a board. But I also think that that this event is like the most important event that NISBA, you know, puts on throughout the year, and not to diminish some of the other opportunities that we have locally, because I think those are great too. But I don't know, I guess my perspective is that this is kind of the one event that makes sense for us to go to as board members. Also, I appreciate the networking and, you know, the connecting with people that are there, meeting our counterparts or different superintendents in different districts. So I'll always want to attend in person, but I understand that that's not for everybody. So just throwing my opinion out there.
I really struggle with, like, and I know we don't set the budget and the board has a budget. I just struggle with, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty right now, a lot of people in the education world that are, you know, worried about jobs and things like that. So to take, for me, as an educator, to take that chunk of money, I'm like, that's, I don't know, I don't like that.
going back to what I was talking about with the goal setting about some sort of like professional development calendar or allotment of what each board member could spend as far as professional development, maybe that's part of the conversation too. So if we each have $1,000 out of the budget line, and I'm just picking a number to spend, and for me, I want to do the webinars that you have to pay for 5 months out of the year, and that for me is going to be the best for my professional development path, then that is what I would do with it. If Mrs. Allen feels that her best choice is to go to the conference once a year, but that's the only thing that you would get to spend money on, then maybe that's the way. I mean, the idea would be is that we're obviously trying to grow and learn in our roles, and what's the best way to do that. So I think we should just keep that in mind, that this would come up again as far as if a retreat, which we are just really challenged in being able to find a date that everyone can make and there's someone available to come and train us. And then this conference, if you want to do extra PD on your own. So, you know, the money is there to be used, obviously, but it doesn't mean that we need to max it out either and spend every dime, because money that we don't use is obviously could be given back to the kids. So
All right, just because it's budgeted for it, it doesn't mean that
it has to be spent. Yeah.
And it all depends if state aid is short, then Danielle needs to figure out what will happen.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Committee updates. Anybody got anything? I know it's kind of a.
I thought we were not doing those.
Right.
Like, I thought we were gonna send ahead of time if there was something.
You're right. That's very right.
That's
Thank
why
you. Had a line through it.
Yeah.
Jeez, Amanda is always messing things up. Just kidding. That was completely me.
If there's a committee update, we send it.
1 week ahead of, or the Friday ahead of time. That's right. Okay, so obviously no one had any committee updates because no one said anything. So, okay. Anything else for today? I would take a motion to move into executive for a negotiations matter, please. Mrs. Foltz, and a second by Mrs. Dingman. Thank you very much.